Hey, Dustin, Dennis Feidner. Thanks for taking that call this morning. Hey, so here's a couple of things you wanted to take a look at. So I was going to jump into estimating first. We call it takeoff, but it's estimating. And this just happens to be a job. We call it our job number 35 is our uh, generic general contract. So this is just a thought. So here's where you can come in, and there's where you put in your swag number. You get to think about it a little bit more. You come back with a budget number, and then you start taking prices from your subcontractors and plugging in their prices. I'm gonna take this profit off because you said you don't mark stuff up um, individually. I guess recalc this real quick. And so over here are the three people that quoted me, and then over here, excuse me, there are an export column. I don't think I have any columns hidden here. Let me just double check. I do have another note column, and there's a user defined column, and then there's a formula column if you guys actually do formulas. I'm not sure if you do or not. So at this point, I can put a budget together just using the swag number by just putting a 1 in here. Taking a 1 out of here. You said checkbox, but we use a 1. So at this point, if I calculate this out, then I've now put 1555 into the budget as my cost because that's my guess. I refine it. I just change the 1 to here. When I find a subcontractor I like, I come up here. I don't have buyout process. So at that point, once this thing is all bought out, I can export all those numbers into the budget for each of those subcontractors, each of those cost codes. Uh, and I forgot to ask you. You said you had your own labor, but I couldn't remember what tasks you guys do yourself. And then I can also go out there and print off those subcontracts by job or by phase. And so and if I have jobs that are similar, I can save these templates and use them over and over again. Obviously, I just blank out the cost column and blank out the vendor column, and then save it as a grid file, and I can get to use it over and over again. So that's kind of how our estimating works. Looks like Excel, feels like Excel, but it's actually our basic estimating. So I'm not going to save that. Um, so that's estimating buyout. The other thing that's going to be a big difference for you from QuickBooks. Open up this job record here. This is one of the things our clients really like. Let me just pull up a job that has some activity. So when I look at the job record, I'm not going to go at all these cells, but here's the name of the job. What status is it in? Is it in bid status? Did I bid it and not get it? Is it currently being worked on? So there's 6 levels to track that at, and then by job type, maybe a little bit more specific than what you were saying. Residential, commercial, medical. I can now start tracking profitability and revenue by job type, not just commercial, residential, but by different types of projects. So I have that. But the part the clients like is if you go across the bottom here, there's 9 tabs. So at any time I want to look at the budget for this job, I just click that, and there's the budget by cost code, and the number of hours I budgeted, material, labor, equipment, etc. So I can see the budget at any time. I can look at every subcontract written. I can look at every change order. I can look at every invoice. Here's all the invoices I've sent out. These are the only 2 that they've paid. This is the retention that's outstanding, and here's what's still due. And so I don't go into accounting. I'm not in accounts receivable. And then this is the last tab I'm going to pull up. Nice little snapshot. Here's where I am today. And so pretty nice little view that you can have. So clients really like that because they're not in and out of a lot of different menu options. Everything is right there. The other report that I mentioned on the phone was our subcontract audit, and I'll just pull one up here that's, yep, this one will work. So in this case, subcontract audit, it's for job 27, Doug's Castle. It's only for my electrical subcontractor. These are the 3 line items that were on his original contract. Here's 2 change orders that we have sent to him, and he's signed and sent back, so they're approved and in the system. So I now know his contract's increased from 29 up to 52. If he had pending change orders, they would be listed in his open change orders. And then if I go to the next page, these are the 2 invoices that he sent me, and then I can see what's still sitting in AP and no checks written yet. So there's 2,200. I haven't paid him yet. I've got him, but I haven't paid him. So if I go back to the first page here, if I need to see what change order 2 is all about. I don't remember seeing it. Nobody told me about it. Um, I can just double click that. That will take me right back to the actual change order. Up here, top right, if you follow my mouse, there's a little white pad with a paper clip on it. These are the documents that I've attached to this change order. So this can be an Excel spreadsheet, a Word document, an email from Outlook. I don't care. A picture you took on the job. We don't care. We haven't found a file format that you can't attach here, so I can attach anything to do with this change order right there. And it's drag and drop. And so it's there now. Let me just close that. So that's a subcontract audit. Comes in really handy when a sub's looking for money. You can find out exactly what's going on. So the other thing I did actually, and and please remember, this is demo data, so none of these numbers really make sense. It's just, I throw stuff in, I don't finish it, because all I'm doing demos, I just do it. But I have this thing, the ability to create a query, which I just did a little while ago before I got this demo started. So here's one I called unreturned subcontracts. And so if I run this for this job, and I can filter these, for this job, here's all of the contracts. Here's a date that they were entered, and we actually use that as a subcontract date, is the date that we enter it. And here's a date that they were approved, which means that they were returned, signed with the correct insurance, etc. And now I can look and say, okay, well, where's Millie's painting, right? I could add more fields to this if I wanted to. You had like, I don't know how far out you plan, but if you planned out, hey, I don't need Millie's painting until 6 months from now, I could actually put in an estimated start date for her and list that column. And so I could tell right away, hey, I don't really need to jump through a hoop to get this one because they're not going to start working for 5 or 6 months versus somebody that's going to start, like your excavating guy, who's going to be starting tomorrow and doesn't have it back. So bottom line is, are really easy to write queries within this in the system. So I'm going to close that. And so that's subcontracts. The other thing I looked at, well, you said you had your own labor. The way a lot of our clients look at it, and the burden does go with all the payroll, which gets you the right job cost. But a lot of our clients look at it this way. And this just happens to be a little tiny concrete job. These are the 7 items that I have to do to get this concrete job completed. These are the hours that I estimated. These are the hours that have been pushed through payroll so far. You can do the math with me here. This is just dividing this by this to come up with this. And then I'm going to come in here and say, hey, you know what? I'm 60% complete on this, 20% on this, and 30% complete on this. Just hit recalc here. And now I can see how many hours I need to finish those tasks and if I'm going to be over or under budget by hour. I know cost is important, but you know, it seems like some jobs just unusually get the overtime, which just increases their labor cost by 50%. I like to work off of hours because I don't care if it's overtime or regular time. In the long run, it's hours that kind of justify the business, because some jobs will get overtime, and you just can't pick which ones those are going to be unless it's a fast track job and you built that into it. But this report works off of hours. If you want to, I can actually go to units complete. It's not really complete cost of complete analysis, but let me go to, whoops, job 6, I passed it. Job 6, so same items. So now I'm looking at the budget, which is my labor with the burden and my material and my subs. The units that I had to do could be lump sum, could be square footage. I'm not sure how detailed you get on your estimates. This is the cost accounting's plowed in there so far. These are how many units are complete. And so if I look at this top line item real simply, I budgeted $14 a square foot. I'm spending $15 a square foot, which is going to put me about $132 over budget. On this item down here, we're doing a good job. We're going to be $1,400 under budget. So sometimes it's good to go back and look at cost by individual tasks to see how close your estimators really are to reality. And so those are reports that I see our clients use all of the time. The last one more in the specialty sub, obviously in the hours complete. The subcontract one obviously is a GC type of thing. And this report, I assume, we didn't talk about this, but I assume that you're doing this in Excel again. This is our committed cost report. Lots of columns here, but I'll just walk you through them. This is one job. Here's the individual line items, CSI codes. This is the approved budget and change orders. That's the cost that I anticipate. This is the cost that's gone through the system so far. These are outstanding subcontracts, which means I've written a subcontract, issued it to the subcontractor, and he has not invoiced me yet. And so, same thing on purchase orders. If I ordered materials, I've written a PO in this case for $6,000, but I have not received an invoice from the vendor, so it shows me as an outstanding commitment. And you can tell right away that I budgeted $400. I've already spent $900, and I got another $6,000 coming in. Not a good job, but I know this is not a good job way before the invoice ever shows up from the sub. The day the purchase order is written, I know I have an issue. And to me, that's a big deal. The last thing I want to show you, because I am trying to keep this under 12 minutes, is what I was talking about this morning on the utilities here. So we have these alerts managers. And that's okay. And so the one we talked about was anytime job cost exceeds a budget for a cost code, it's going to shoot off an email. You determine who that is. Could be the owner, could be the project manager, could be the CFO, could be a combination. We don't care. Here's change orders that have been issued. They're over 30 days old, that they haven't been voided or approved yet, so that's an issue. RFIs that I've sent out that haven't been returned. You know, they're supposed to be back by tomorrow, and they're not here yet. I don't have a 1099 for vendor. I'm sure you have some internal value to purchase orders in your office. And so let's just say it's 10,000 and above, you want to know about it. In this case, anytime one's over 10,000, you'll get an email the next morning telling you what purchase orders were written yesterday, what job, who the vendor was, and the amount, because they exceeded what you wanted. And then the old important one of these vendor certificates are expiring next month. That goes out every Monday for somebody to start making phone calls. Anyway, 12 minutes and 15 seconds later, highlights, you can see how easy it is to navigate this thing. All user interface. If I'm in payroll, I have my own payroll screen. If I'm in payables, I have my own payable screen. These are all customizable to individual users. So, hey, thanks for watching. Pass it around if you need to or want to, and then call me when you guys are ready to schedule the next demo next week. Thanks.